El Trasgu, where we've been staying, which means the Goblin. Looking back down the hill that I couldn't really show yesterday because of the rain. And that's where we're going, up to the Cruz de Ferro. Well, we are just leaving Foncebadón, walking through the main street, which has just turned into a pebble street, leaving behind us El Trasdu. I keep putting a G in it and I don't know why. El Trasdu, which means the Goblin, as I was just mentioning, and little cats everywhere. So it's just gone 7 o'clock, 7:05, and we've been ready for about half an hour, but just messing about basically. Sending messages in my case. So I hadn't realised yesterday, perhaps quite stupidly, that we were actually doing the climb to the Cruz de Ferro yesterday. I thought we had that climb today. So when we were going up the hills, as it was raining on and off toward the end of yesterday from Rabanal del Camino, I thought they were just little hills. And I was thinking, yeah, we've got a lot more of these tomorrow. But no, that was basically the climb yesterday. So today, there's a bit of a climb to the Cruz de Ferro, but we're pretty much there. And then it's a sharp descent today. So, that's what we got today. Up to the Cruz de Ferro. I have my stone with me, which I brought all the way from Gorse Hill in Orton, where there's a particular rock that I've always liked to sit on, for many years at least. And I found a stone near there, so I brought that with me, which I shall leave there. And then we've got a descent, quite a long walk today. It's about 16.6 miles, about 28 kilometres, a bit more, to Ponferrada. That's the word. Looking over to Foncebadón. So we're a little further up the hill. I'll just show you. If I go that way, that's where Foncebadón is. But looking over this way, I'm not too sure what we're heading into. I think it should clear, but we might get a bit of rain, I think. Sometimes along the way things surprise you. They appear when you don't expect them to, and that's just happened with the Cruz de Ferro. It's right in front of us, and I had expected much more. I thought it would be more away from the road actually, but it's right here. So you're walking along there and you suddenly come over the top. You've got the woods to one side of you. And then that comes into view. I think I'll put my stone on the right side of it from here, because I imagine there's a problem with them falling onto the road. Sign saying that there's a water fountain to the left somewhere. Oh, there's a rest spot with lots of picnic benches. The fountain must be there. It feels sort of strange to walk onto it.
To cover anyone else's. So, it's an interesting place, of course, but I actually found it extremely moving. I spent quite a while there. Not sure what I think exactly, but so many people have come to this place full of intentions, of good intentions, but full of feeling and sensation and pain and hope, and it's palpable. Quite often you'll be walking on a lovely path like this and you can get totally caught up in it, and then you realise that you're actually, maybe you can see just down there, you're right next to a road, but you don't feel it because it feels such a mountainous track. In places it isn't near the road. It comes as a surprise when you are there. Quite a quiet time since being up at the cross. I think we've had a bit of a talk together, but not hearing many people talking all that much. There was a gentleman singing a little bit further back. I think partly because it's quite a I would say it's a misty day, but I think it's probably just where we are that we're up in the clouds. I'd be surprised if the Cruz de Hierro
is often not in the clouds. What with it being the highest point of the Camino Frances. Yeah, there was a little van stop a short way down from it, and then further around from there was a place called something like the International Medieval Centre of the Templarios, and it looked quite a fun place to stop, but we wanted to keep pushing on, I think particularly because we can see pockets of sunlight further down, and it's quite cold up here. It's better to keep moving, and I think we just want to keep moving as well. There's quite a bit you can't really avoid, so I'm going around a large puddle here. You can't really avoid, well, maybe some people do. I want to say you can't really avoid thinking about things after being at that cross. But some people probably move on from it quite quickly, I suppose. I hadn't really expected it to be as moving as it was for me. But yeah, there were lots of thoughts. Remarkable place. And this too, I mean, this, when I first started doing the Camino, there were sections where I kept saying it was a bit like Wales. This is a bit like Wales. So I'm sort of in my ordinary element here. Slate underfoot. It's probably more clay rich. The soil is sort of a pale clay colour. But it's really atmospheric. I'm just enjoying walking through it. Just saying, we're surprised this bit is as overgrown as it is, because so many people come through here. You're actually having to dock to get under the brim. So I'm going to try and show you this without it being too bumpy. I love this sort of downhill, and I know that lots of people don't, but I'm slowing down a little. I normally find I can get into a rhythm where somehow or other I sort of take in where my feet need to go in advance of actually placing the step. So I guess we always do that, don't we? You look ahead and you're not actually looking at where you put each foot, you're looking at what's coming up, and your feet just naturally go where they need to go somehow, because you've already taken in where they need to go somehow. I think it must be what dogs do. I often wonder how dogs know where their back feet need to go, and I guess it's because they've already taken in what's coming up.
Anyway, I like sort of cautiously but somewhat flying down these sort of sections. Well, if you feel like somewhere that's not in Ponferrada along this section, they have hydrotherapy, individual rooms, swimming pool, all sorts of things at that albergue. So we're just coming into El Acebo. Another one with private rooms, vegetarian food, una trucha del arco iris, a house of feng shui. Welcome to the region of El Bierzo.
Una finca de chocolate.
Ciao, gracias.
That was a lovely place. It's called La Rosa del Agua.
That was a really nice little break. I had the tuna bread empanada, and Andrew just had toast on, the tomato on toast with a bit of oil, which was just what he wanted. And we could sit out on the terrace, and they served us on the terrace. They seemed to be absolutely rushed off their feet. I think they were training somebody new to work there. The lady was running around, but was really, really kind. I have to say, there's an advert that I showed earlier on, the same advert on the side of the hotel opposite the place we've just eaten at, La Rosa del Agua, saying that 400 metres ahead is probably the best hotel on the Camino. It's the one with the hydrotherapy and the swimming pool. So I'm quite curious about that. This is the sort of place that if I were doing it again, I don't know that I would do it again necessarily, but I know some people do, maybe I will. If I were, this is a quirky place to stay. It seems really peaceful. People come down off the mountain because it is steep. I find that fun. I think a lot of people found it quite hard going. You do have to be careful, of course. So just look, can you see behind me down there? Isn't it pretty? Yeah, and everybody gathers here because they've just come down off the mountain. And I just love the architecture, these little balconies and so on. Really nice place.
Typical food of Bierzo, because we're in the Bierzo area, of course, now. The Camino continues down there, but you can see written back to front here, Camino, and it says here, Camino de la Fossa. Looking on the map, it looks as though this basically goes parallel with the road for a short way. You're just not walking on a road, you're walking a little bit higher, and it's probably prettier. So we're doing this. Voila. Well, I like that. A pilgrim without good humour is like an empty world. I agree. Well, we're looking back towards the village there. Now, if that hotel that's supposed to be the best on the Camino is the building on the right, it's a lot bigger than I'd imagined from the signs, and newer. I've got all the flags out. So I'm guessing that must be Ponferrada down there. We've got another nice downhill. Not quite going on the road again. So we're coming into Riego de Ambros, which leaves us 4.7 kilometres to Molinaseca, and then from there we've got 8 kilometres to go to Ponferrada, and it's now 11:20. So that gives some idea of the type of terrain, I suppose, and generally how long it's taken us. And we did have a stop just now, obviously, for some food. But I think if you're not somebody that enjoys throwing yourself into downhills, it would probably take a lot longer. We find, both of us, uphills harder. And actually walking on the flat for a long way, I find that an absolute killer. You'd think I wouldn't, because I live in a very flat area. But I do find it hard. It's 920 metres above sea level. Traditionally known for its valuable cattle stock and apiaries. It did have 2 hospitals here, was quite important in the late 1700s in particular. Today they have curry with rice inside. Another nice little village. There are albergues here. There's another one just coming up on the left. And another one on the right. They do food as well. Breakfast, sandwiches, hamburgers. In memory of our ancestors.
Caceroral, las hilanderas.
I wonder which way the Camino is. I have to say, I would love to stay in some of these little villages. I imagine they're quite hard in the winter when they're snowy. El Bierzo no es León. El Bierzo isn't León. I'm not sure where we are, but I can say we are not far. Well, we have a new type of downhill. This one looks carved out by water, and I imagine if it's been raining, this probably gets slippy. And a few hundred yards, not even that, further on we've got cobbles. There's more of that slick slate coming up. Here we go. There's a bar or restaurant 1 kilometre ahead, which surprises me because I thought we'd passed by the town and there wasn't another one for a while. It's just totally idyllic. There were a couple of little yellow birds flying ahead. I don't know what they were. They might have just been goldfinches. They always look very yellow, of course. I wonder what will be the view around this corner. I think we're probably looking towards Ponferrada. It's a long way down. Can you see the road? Well, that will be our first view of Molinaseca. You can see some pilgrims on the road down there. The air is sort of quite heavy with what smells like thyme. I just picked a little of it and was smelling it. And it looks like thyme. However, Andrew has used his Picture This app and tells me that it is Menzies golden bush. But we'll double check that. We've got more photos of it. It's a lovely scent. It's not like yesterday when I was smelling musty bungalows. It's fresh, the air is fresh. So, approaching Molinaseca. I do think that if you're somebody who doesn't like downhills, this is not the easiest of day. The easiest of days for people that don't like downhills. I do. But if you don't, you get one downhill section and then you get another and then you get another, and it evens out in between at times. It's not continuous, but each section is quite long. Like here, I'll see if I can show you. It's quite... It never really looks very downhill on film when it actually really is. So if you have problems with your knees, for example, and they're the type of problem where going downhill, this is another steep downhill I'm coming to now. If you have the type of problem with your knees where a downhill is difficult, I think it might be wise to make this a smaller section. I know a lot of people really like Molinaseca and choose to stay there. And of course there were places part way down that I saw too. You could do a stop there and then a stop in Ponferrada the next day and just break it up. And I think actually, rather than that being an easy way out of it, I think it would just make it more pleasant because they're lovely places. So we're going on from here to Ponferrada. Andrew today didn't sleep at all last night. He was too cold and we didn't have any more. We had blankets in the room, we didn't have any more blankets. And he didn't want to put a light on and disturb me. So he got really cold and didn't sleep. So he's finding today a bit harder probably than I am. Because we've got another 8 kilometres after Molinaseca to get to Ponferrada. And it's now just gone 12:30. And I think that's fine. But for Andrew, I think and I'm sure other people will feel the same, might be a bit daunting. The day that is concerning me is we're after tonight, we go to Villafranca del Bierzo, and then we'll have a rest day in Villafranca del Bierzo, which isn't something that people normally do. It's just because we're doing a shorter section from Belorado to Sarria for now, and we thought it would be nice to have an extra day somewhere, partly because I'd read that there's a lot of wildlife around Villafranca del Bierzo, so I thought it would be a nice place to have a proper rest rather than a rest day in a city where you're just always seeing the things, seeing the sights, going to cathedrals and whatever. A day of just relaxing and seeing if there are any birds and maybe wandering down to the river, I think would be really nice. But that's not something that most people do. But I mean, you can do it your own way, can't you? But it's also Villafranca del Bierzo. After that, we're going to go straight to a Febrero, which is a very steep climb at the end of a long day. It's about a 17-mile day, 28 kilometres, something like that. And the hardest part of it is right at the end, where it's really steep, apparently. Steeper than yesterday. And I will find that hard at the end of the day, going uphill. So that's the one that's worrying me. I'm wondering whether to ship my baggage forward. I've been seeing how my legs go and my feet go. And actually, after that difficult period between Ledigos and Leon, touch wood, I've been feeling a bit better. These shoes that I got,
It's a coincidence that we've been today to the Cruz de Hierro, and my shoes, the name of this particular type of shoe, which is made by New Balance, they're called the Hierro, which is the name of the cross, and they've been absolutely perfect, because I know people worry sometimes about this downhill. They're very, very good shoes for this downhill. They've got Vibram soles. They're trail running shoes. The grip has been fantastic today. Don't know what it would be like in the wet, but the wet sections I've been through, they've been really, really good. So, yeah, that's where we're up to. I think Andrew is some way back, so I'll see how he's getting on. And yeah, we'll be in Molinaseca shortly. I think we're going to stop there and have, I fancy some fruit juice, orange juice, I think. Maybe some more coffee, maybe something to eat. Maybe an ice cream. It's got 7 arches. Maybe there are more on the other side. But it's been repeatedly altered, the last one being in the 1980s. You can see why people like to stay here. There's a coach party that's just come in as well. Spanish people, I think.
No, estaba todo lleno, mira, había una cantidad de gente. Ayer eran fiestas en raíces. Esta quedó en raíces. Íbamos a ir para raíces y marchamos de raíces. No había nada. Y fueron para Villalegre. Y en Villalegre estaba todo.
Claro, lógico. Pusieron tiene un prado, nos lo pusieron allí en el prado.
La mayor tenía una amiga que iba a una casa.
Exactamente, pero estaba el pollo. Sí. Había una comida de jubilados que debían de... Bueno, tenían orquesta y todo. Y luego nosotros teníamos el comedor y luego... Y muy bien, la verdad, muy bien. Pusieron una fabada, Fernando comió fabada.
Venga, tú misma.
Hay que acabar el vino.
Bueno, pero es igual, ahora ve. Lo tiene, ¿eh?
No, el que tú quieras acabar.
No.
Venga.
So I ordered the salad with fruit, and it's huge. It's like, there's my hand. And it's more of a sort of salad or fruit. But it looks delicious. I saw the donkey man earlier and I wondered where the donkey was. And there's the answer. Abby is. Well, we both think that Molinaseca is an absolutely beautiful place. I could spend a week just stopping off in each village, I think. Yeah. Actually, I could spend more than a week in any one village. And this is all the route out from Molinaseca, the main road that leads straight out from the town. And that sense we had as soon as we were coming in, that it was actually an important place for Spanish tourism, is borne out by these houses, I think. I suspect they're quite desirable and that people from Spain want to come here. Maybe a lot of it has to do with the medieval history of the town. So this is a long stretch of straight road and it's hot. We're now at 25 to 3 in the afternoon. Coming up, there's a choice of continuing on this road, which is a shortcut, or following the Camino, which will take us off. And I think that's probably the best route to pick. I think this is one of the best days. The terrain and the climate even changes so much during the day. I thought that the climb down the hill through those villages was probably difficult for some, but I just found it glorious. But I think we have a good example of how it can be different for different people, because Andrew is struggling today more than he has. It is long, I mean we're still going, but we stopped for a good meal there, and we stopped earlier for food as well. So I think it's great. But yeah, everyone has a different experience. I mean, just look at it. We've been up there, we came down from up there. It's the most fantastic walk. And even that ahead is pretty glorious. I mean, look. And beyond it. So we're entering Campo. It talks about the construction of the Roman fount, which is just down there. Fountain, I should say. It's not really a fount, is it? Fuente Romana. I'm hoping I'll be able to get water in the village rather than having to go, because it was a downhill, 150 metres to the Roman fountain.
and I don't know whether there'd be drinkable water in it when we got there, although I'm sure it's interesting. We want to go around the castle when we get to Ponferrada, or at least I do. But I should have filled up with water when I was in Molinaseca, and I didn't think of it because we just had all that fruit. It's getting a bit of speed up there. And I just wasn't thinking that I needed more water, and really I do. It's got hot now. They say the Camino will provide. There's free water, free water, free water. Oh, the Camino goes over the bridge. Or does it? There's another arrow there that says the Camino goes left. The albergue is right, I think, and the Camino goes left. Oh, that's good. Quite a steep hill. We turn right here on Hospital Street, Calle El Hospital. You can probably see how it sort of goes along and then it just drops right down. Look at the castle. It's a very castle-y castle. It's the castle of the Templars. Apparently there's a library in there of the Knights Templars. So we want to go in. I'm not intending to do my usual trick of going in and then standing around reading everything, because I just can't do the standing around after today, really, and I don't think Andrew could. So, oh, there's a lovely little walkway connecting that tower up there. We can walk around it though once we've got backpacks off, or at least I hope to. There's the church. So I think our hotel will be in this square just round the corner on the left. There we go. Hotel Arroyo Plaza. And we can sit outside and have a drink.
Oh gosh, this is nice.
And that's the town hall. And that's where we just come from. This is our room at the Hotel Arroyo Plaza. And Andrew's very pleased that in the wardrobes over there are extra blankets for him, so he won't get cold the way he did last night. Really lovely room. We're on the second floor. Many of the rooms have balconies. Some of them have windows that are sort of loft windows. We have this view here. I put a chair in front of it so that I can climb up, which you're probably not meant to do. I've already given Andrew a fit by sitting on the window ledge here. But it's quite a good window ledge. So, view from the window ledge. So we're now going to go to the castle, but looking back, that room there with the top floor with the closed windows is our bedroom. And this is in one of the squares. It's a sculpture by a sculptor called Venancio Blanco, and it's telling the legend of a Knight Templar who, during the time when they were constructing the fortress here, found in a hole, it says, an old lady who'd been hiding away for centuries in the image of the Virgin Mary. I think that's correct. Afraid of the advancing Saracens.
It's an iron day because we went to the Cruz de Hierro, which is the Iron Cross. Then we came to Ponferrada, so named because of the Pont, which is bridge, Ferrada, which is iron, the iron bridge. And now we're in a castle in which there have been Iron Age remains found. We just read in the guide. And of course I did it in iron shoes. My New Balance Hierro trail running shoes. So it's been a very iron day. I've just stopped at this archway because we've had our first really good look over there at the mountains ahead of us. We're not going to cross them, of course, but maybe we'll be heading a short way in that direction. The breeze whips up in here.
El patio interior del castillo como tierras de cultivo. Viene la gente y empieza a hacer sus huertos y a plantar sus árboles frutales. ¿Y qué pasa cuando yo me estoy haciendo un huerto? Si encuentro una piedra que ahí me molesta, pues cojo esa piedra y la tiro. Se han ido perdiendo pues un poco las casitas de los templarios. Sí. Por otro lado tenemos a los escritores, la gente de letras que quieren que no se haga el castillo, que se haga, porque es parte de nuestra historia de los.
This is the view from the tower at the top. Our hotel would have been just by that. Never mind the castle, that little bird's having a bath. A sand bath. Look at the little sparrow having a sand bath. Ooh. Ooh, doesn't it just make me want to do that? Ooh. They had a tunnel which went down from the castle to the river and drew the water up. There's an exhibition of books dating from the Middle Ages, many belonging to the Knights Templars. Well, we're eating at the Trastevere, which is right by our hotel. Our hotel's just up there, toward the left. And we've got two pizzas. One's a Bianca, and the others are sort of, they didn't have one of the ingredients, so we've sort of made it up with jamon and so on. And we've got a salad with red fruits.
aquí. No, aquí no. Tú preguntas